don't, that's okay too. But families are being divided today by what they believe in.
My gosh, yes.
And it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we have the first card. We have, just because I'm making a summary.
Yes.
So the first one was, remind me.
The reckless driving of our ego. Reckless driving of our thoughts and the isms that we're nearing by wanting truth and justice the way we want it, as opposed to opening our hearts. That's what our soul wants. The soul says, you guys are very vulnerable. You are a vulnerable species. You are a sensitive species. Own that. Be open to that. Look forward to that, because that is the path for real love and real joy, real happiness. Be able to dream a new world. We can dream a new world if we remain open, but we cannot do it if we're driving fast and reckless and just very obsessed with what we believe. So there's a second layer of cards. Should I interpret those now? The next few cards?
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Okay, so the next few cards in this reading represent the clearest reflection of where we have personality versus a soul discrepancy, where we're not agreeing at all. This is for healing, everyone. This is to heal our discrepancy between our personality, driven by the ego, and what our soul really wants for us, which is the most enjoyable version of the journey. So we have literally what in the tarot is called the devil, but in my tarot of the dragons, it's called chains. We see a dark dragon and a couple that is apparently bound by these chains, but the chains have already been broken, but the couple is not opening their eyes to notice that. They're actually being infused with light, like a zenith light that comes from above, but because their eyes have been so closed to opportunity that they cannot see this anymore. What is this saying to us? It is saying that because of our isms, we have closed our minds, our eyes, and our hearts to that which is not obsessively what we believe in, or what we are defending, or what we want out of life. So this creates a lot of attachments, entitlements, blindness, lack of gratitude, and lack of vision for opportunity. And ironically, the card that represents the soul is called the Star, which is one of the most hopeful and beautiful cards in the deck. You see dragons flying everywhere in the middle of planets and comets and other stars, and they're just celebrating dragon dance in the atmosphere. And the sky is absolutely clear and beautiful. It's exactly the opposite. One is very grounded and imprisonment, and the other one is absolute freedom, hope. And it's like heaven and hell, literally, because the star represents Eden, or the symbolic heavens, and chains represents hell, and like the dark night of the soul. So
it's amazing, and all in the mind. You know what? Next time that you come to the podcast, we're gonna do it through the video way that we have, so I can put your next reading on my YouTube, so people can see the cards. But you're doing wonderful explaining. So that's
Thank you.
The third one. Which one is the fourth one?
No, the fourth one is the star. So we have chains as the third one.
Okay.
And what our soul is saying to us, or what our collective soul is saying, is that whenever we choose to be free from inside out, we will be. Whenever we choose to see hope.
I love that. We'll put that in the copy. Whenever we choose to be free, we will be free.
Exactly. It has to be a collective thing. Yes.
We got to choose it to realize that we are it.
Yeah, it's asking us to see from the highest perspective possible. And that can only be possible when we're not alone. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different dragons flying together. And these dragons are in the midst of planets. Like we become a universal species instead of just the human species obsessed with the game of life as we have interpreted it, as we understand it, as we perceive it. Like we have become so obsessed with our own filters that we can no longer see. It's like you put on these virtual reality lenses, and you're going to believe what you see. The brain is so powerfully infused with the fantasy that it's experiencing that your body will react to that fantasy as if it was true. And I have a very strong feeling that we've been in virtual reality for too long. And COVID is helping us, to break the shell and move into a more expanded awareness. And the star definitely reflects that if we put all of our might and our energy and our love into creating a new vision, we will, but it has to be a collective vision. We cannot be obsessed with isms and then create a collective vision that is in the greater benefit of everyone. It just doesn't make sense. So that's what it's saying. Our discrepancy is the soul. Wow. I'm saying, Yvonne, I'm always saying the soul will always win because she has the best laid plans for us. Whereas our personality doesn't. Our personality sometimes is just obsessed with where do I belong? What do I do? How do I have success? Where is the happiness? And the soul is saying happiness lives within you. You just have to access it again. So, yeah.
It's like the personality has its own chaos and its own nationality, right? It always wants more, or it depends on itself to exist, which is kind of a cul-de-sac right there.
Yeah. I was just reminded right now about a Stephen King movie that is and a book that is called, I think, Christine, about a car.
I'm such a lover of honey, you have to know this. I was raised, when my grandfather died, he inherited all his books to my mother, like 3,000 something books, and the whole area of spirituality landed in my room because my mom didn't have space in the small apartment we used to live. So she put all the spirituality books, hence, the mystic was birthed, right? She put the section of spirituality, Vedanta, Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, the Buddha, everything in my room. But she also put the collection of Stephen King. Look at the
oh my gosh.
Look at the light and shadow. So me in my room, 12-year-old, reading Bhagavad Gita and reading it and reading all the Stephen King things, like very deep. So Stephen King is close to my dark side. So keep going.
So why am I saying about Stephen King? Stephen King described very well. I saw the movie. I never read any books because, I was very sensitive to thrillers and all of that. I'm one of those people who doesn't sleep. I'm very impressionable in a way, So in Christine, I think that the car comes alive and he's just, in total control. Like whoever's in there, they're in for a ride because the car is driving on its own. And let me explain why I'm saying this. I've been told many times as I'm reading the tarot, and I have a very good connection to who I am as a soul. I don't say to my soul because it's not an object, it's to who I am as a soul. So the part of me that is soul tells me the following. Your higher self is the one who holds the map, of everything that you planned to experience Earth. So higher self knows the journey. Then your soul is the astronaut in the ship, okay? Or if this is an Earth, is the one driving the car. She's the driver. You are the car. I am the car. My personality called Alex. I'm just the vehicle. So when the vehicle, which is our personality, takes over and does not let the soul be the driver, that's when trouble begins. Because soul knows where it's going based on its connection to the higher self, whereas personality is just programmed and has no idea sometimes of what it's doing.
I can relate. 2 divorces later.
So,
what did you say, dear soul?
So we are, one of the trainings I give to my students in my tarot school for the soul, my tarot for the soul school, is let us allow the soul to be the soul driver. Every morning I say, soul, you take over. I'm just going to follow instructions and I will be very happy to do so. It requires a lot of humility to let go of the ego that gives too much importance to the personality. Just remember that personality is the one that wants all the selfies and wants to look good in the media, and in all the social networks. We want to look good. We want to be accepted. We want all those likes, in our profile. But the soul cares more about how happy we are today, how much peace we derive from our experience, how much prosperity we can perceive as is, as opposed to what should be happening. And when we listen to the soul, we feel like we're in paradise. And when we listen to personality, we have to ask other people what they think about what we're doing and who we are being. So that's powerful.
Wow. I'm taking lots of notes. That's why, I'm usually not this quiet. No, it's perfect. And then we have the third line of cards, left and right, is how can we come to terms and agree with our soul on something? Okay. So this is the line. This is the line where the soul says, look, you personality, if you do this, if you follow this advice, this is what I'm going to clear the path for you. This is how I'm going to clear the path, or what I'm going to clear in your path. So what are we being told? If we own our responsibility as human beings and become the emperors, and this is the emperor card. What is the emperor card? It's a card for solid creation based on the consciousness of the good we can bring to the kingdom. Let's put it that way. What does this mean? An emperor is a place of or a role that is highly responsible. We started with this reading with reckless driving, and the third line says, let us be responsible. Let us be aware of our community. Let us be aware of our planet and achieve great harmony amongst us. And we can only do that if we're disciplined in our intent, if we have a vision for the greatest benefit for everything and everyone, when we consider all points of view. Like, I cannot think of an emperor that says, you belong here. No, you don't belong here because you don't think exactly the way I do, which is happening a lot, by the way. I've heard a lot of people get closed down in their social networks because they just think differently. And that is just astounding to me. Like, I simply cannot fathom it or understand it. Yeah,
so
that's happening more and more.
Yeah. So the emperor says we have to own our responsibility, which is also the emperor speaks about being reassured that we are dignified as is. Like, we already deserve. It's not about somebody saying you deserve, you don't deserve. We deserve to be here. We deserve to be happy. We deserve the privilege of bringing happiness and wellness to others. And this is what our soul is suggesting, that we become like emperors. So the emperor has qualities such as discipline, great vision for everything and everyone. It has resilience, continuity, in the hard work or great and enjoyable work, but it continues its discipline until the goals are achieved. And it has a great power to materialize his vision or her vision. Okay, it can be the empress, but here's the emperor, our yang side. So it's a very not nourishing. How would you say this? The provider, the real provider that we are. We can provide wellness for everything and everyone. Exactly. In our own measure, like we can do it for our family or for a friend, or we can do it for an entire community or an entire country or the entire world. Depends on our personal responsibility. And what does our soul offer us if we own this emperorship? It offers us the opportunity to let go of the past that is still draining our energy over and over, because we're looking at the past and going, oh, this was wrong and this is wrong and I don't understand what happened. And we're just still like crying over spilled milk. Like, there's these cups on the table of the 5 of Cups. And this man, instead of walking through the door, pushing through the threshold to move to his new experience. The Five of Cups, which is the card to the right,